Welcome back to Built for Better. Today I've got Lucy Calton in. Before we jump into it, roll the intro. Lucy, thank you for jumping on.
Hello.
How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's my short day today, so
Nice.
I enjoy that.
Tell us a little bit about you, what you do for work, family.
I work for government agency for Department of Communities and Justice, caseworker. I'm a administrative officer there. I've got a partner and 6-year-old, nearly 7-year-old son.
He goes into year 1 this year?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, looking forward to that, asking when do I go back to the blue school.
He's ready. Yeah, Eli goes this week.
Yeah,
he's really excited to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So jumping in, when you reached out to me, it was the 17th of the 7th. I went back and found our first message, 2021. How were you feeling then?
Nervous, probably. I'd found your online stuff with Facebook and had subscribed to you. I don't even remember, I was thinking about it, subscribed to your emails, and reading those emails is what sort of got me motivated enough, and you offered the next enrolment for the level ups, and I went, it's now or never, so I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had you tried much before that for weight loss?
I'd done Weight Watchers before, going back well over 10 years now, the last time that they were running it in town. And I lost 20 kilos the last time.
I did that back in the day. Like, it's the point system.
Yes, yeah. So I was doing that. I was walking, doing my water aerobics, but Zumba might have been around in those days too. I really enjoyed that when they were doing that.
Yeah.
And I did, as I said, I lost the sort of 20 kilos doing that, but there wasn't any specifics to it. You don't really, I suppose you get some advice, but not really.
There's not a lot of education around it. You just put your food in and you work out your points from that, and
not you should be eating this or this is better than
and
that,
you can eat,
kind of stuff.
which I guess it is a good little thing to prompt you to eat more fruit. But when I did it, I ate that much fruit because fruit was free, but then Coke Zero was also free, so I drank that much Coke Zero. Like, there's
and there's limits to stuff.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And 10 months later, 28 kilos down.
Yeah.
Didn't step foot in a gym either. No. Putting that out there.
No, yes.
It goes to show what's possible. Like, I probably didn't even think it would be possible that quick without.
And you've mentioned before that I'm sort of, a little bit different to your other clients and stuff, and it sort of shows you what can be done outside.
Yeah, when I say that happened in 10 months, there was probably only a couple of days that you didn't track your food in that time.
No.
And hit your steps for that matter.
I think twice I didn't hit steps.
Yeah.
And I think once I had an operation that day, and the other time I was sick in bed, so basically.
What are some of the biggest things you learnt working with me compared to Weight Watchers?
I think I learnt probably about how maybe how you break things down a little bit more simply, if that makes sense, and how there's a bit of a formula to losing weight and to keeping it off, and the things that maybe sort of focusing on protein or things like that I wouldn't have known before. That you need to be consistent for the majority of the time. Work things into your daily routines where it fits in, and sometimes it takes a while till you can get up to speed, but if you're working on it and keep moving forward, then you tend to be able to keep that as part of. So I, on a normal day, will walk every morning because I have a sedimentary job. If I don't walk in the morning, then I don't get those steps up.
10,000 steps is a lot of steps, isn't it? If you're in a job where you see it.
I worked out, one day I didn't walk. I was going to walk in the afternoon or something, but I did less than 3,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 steps
Yeah.
during the whole day. And that's just, and that was, and that's still doing housework and still doing running around and that kind of stuff. But the sedimentary job, really, you don't add up much at all. Depending on the weather, you can fit in walking around. But hot summer, got to go early.
Even on your condo summer.
Even on your days off. And I don't want to get out of bed early, but it's too hot.
Yeah.
And some days it's too hot by 9 o'clock in the morning. And on a weekend I would want, or when I've got time off, especially if I'm not going to be doing, full on running around housework, and I want to pump out at least 700 or 800 or 1,000 steps in the morning.
It's a good hour and a half walk, would it be?
Can be, yeah. So I do, I've left the house by 6:40 in the morning. I get back at 7:30.
Yeah.
And I usually do, and then roughly 6,000 steps.
It's a good start for the day, isn't it? Like once you got that, then you know that even if you've got 1,000 or two to get in the afternoon, it's pretty easy to get.
Mm-hmm. And I walk. I've rearranged. I walk to go and do the mail. I used to drive.
Yeah.
One street
It's
over.
them small things. Like when I sometimes give the steps to new clients, they think they've got to run to get their steps, but that's not the idea. It's just about moving more throughout the day. It's like from me, from work, it's like if I quickly need something from Shaman's, it's one block. Like by the time I get in my car, drive there, park my car and walk in, there's probably not really that much difference anyhow.
Yeah, no, and I've learnt that and I've worked that out.
Yep.
And I, if I find something I need to do, I go and do it. And then I go back and then, I need to put that away. I'll go and put that away now, at home. So you sort of, it might be doubling backwards and forwards, but you're building up and still moving, if that makes sense.
It's kind of changing your mindset a little bit too, isn't it? Like sometimes we try and do everything as strategic as we can to move less, but really moving more isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not at all. And you feel that. You feel the benefits of that.
Yeah. And during the weight loss journey, were there days that you were really hungry or were you consistently hungry?
Maybe not as much as I thought I would be. There are some days that I am hungry, but the majority of the time, to start, I found it very difficult to eat the calories, the amount of calories that I needed to. Before we'd moved in, sort of when I was on a few more to start with, before I sort of went down and then back up again to the maintenance, I found it difficult. Focusing on the protein and eating that much was difficult to start with.
That's probably something worth pointing out is when you started, you were on considerably higher calories. As you came down in weight, your energy requirement wasn't as high, so your calories would come down. So each month you would lose 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 kilos, and your calories would be slightly less because I reset them every month.
And you adjust to that.
Yeah.
I think there was 15,000 and about 180, 90 grams of protein. That was tough.
Yeah.
But you just reassess and readjust and restructure. And I think that starting on a higher calories helps, but that changing your mindset on what you eat, and that sort of, evolves as you go along.
I sometimes feel bad sending you your calories. Like at least my gym clients have that hour they're spending in the gym to earn them an extra few hundred calories to eat each day, where when you're not training, then you don't get that buffer either.
No, and I do a couple of thousand more steps, but that buffers me enough sometimes.
And you mentioned protein earlier. How important do you think protein was, and how much has that changed from the way you eat, sort of breakfast and things like that?
Yeah, I worked out, and I think you work out through trial and error as well, about what keeps you full or what helps for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And also with spreading calories. And because there's no set time to eat whatever, whenever, potentially, I tend to, I think that's just from habit and from life, eat a lot more at night.
Yeah.
I try not to eat too late, but I would prefer to eat and snack at night.
Yeah.
And I can sort of go through the day not eating. I mean, I do now. I proportion stuff a lot better than I used to, but I don't need as much in the morning. Whereas I find that I'm snacking and picking at night, and if I've got calories to snack and pick, then it's better than if you've run out and you are then hungry. So it's about learning where you do. And I think different times of the month or hormones and
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
And yeah, I tend to, I'm a bit hungrier at certain times of the month. Or you notice just with a flux of weight, maybe retaining water or something.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
that. So, and I think you've
And did you think
mentioned that.
tracking that made you aware?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we do, and that sort of tracking where you are at in your cycle has shown, and you've had pointed out, this week, or you've put on a little bit more weight this week, or you retain, and you can sort of see that, and then it drops
Yeah, don't
back
get
off
caught
again.
up. Just keep doing it. And because a lot of people get on the scales and they're like, I've been eating good and this has gone up, and then get frustrated and essentially throw in the towel, where that doesn't help anything. But
no.
all you can do is just
And to start
going.
with, it was difficult to weigh every day, but you learn, it teaches you about where you hold your weight and if you have snacked a little bit too much, and just simple things. Or then it also shows how quickly it comes off if you readjust what you're doing slightly.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it to start with was difficult, but now I use it. But I don't get on there and go, oh God, it's Christmas and I've just put on 2 kilos. I just go, righto, we're just going to knuckle down and take it back. And and then it drops off in a couple of days and you go, it was just water weight, or it was just whatever it was. And it wasn't, that you can relax and it doesn't mean that you undo anything.
Yep. You mentioned that you like snacking later at night. This is why I don't like writing clients' meal plans, because I don't know what they like doing and I don't know how they like to structure their day. And talking to you, I like how you mentioned that, it's about spacing your calories out through the day. Like, you've learned all this along the journey.
Definitely.
And do you feel like it's going to be a sustainable journey now? Everything you've learned?
Definitely. I think it's changed a lot of my habits and my thoughts. And, sometimes you do think twice about eating something or a better option, especially if you're trying to. Tomorrow night we're having early Australia Day drinks and snacks with friends. I will focus on low calorie but high protein and now fibre that we're doing that in the early part of the day, so that I've got some excess calories to have a couple of drinks or eat a couple of bits of cheese or something that night, and not go too far over by managing but still trying to hit targets, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And if I know that that's coming up, I do structure, and I'll sit there and I'll plug in my calories for the day, for the meals that I want to eat, and work everything out, sometimes in the morning, sometimes by mid-morning, to know what I can fit in. If I'm not wanting to just go, we're just not going to worry about it at all today. And even when I'm not worrying about stuff to start with, like the start of the journey, I would still be worrying and still be thinking about it. And it took a while to get to the point where you relax enough to go, one bad day does not undo anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of your journey. And I think I said to you recently, it's a good thing and a bad thing to have gone through that, because you learn you can go places and enjoy yourself without going to excess, and you can go and relax as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's something that you just have to learn, but you have to stay focused and on the process as well.
Yeah.
You know.
With food tracking, to start with, it's, time consuming. It's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
But over time, the more you do it, it is actually quite easy, isn't it?
It is. And you, especially if you're a repetitive eater like me, you eat very similar things.
Like, my lunch today was the same as yesterday. So, like, once you enter it once, copy from date.
And it pops up, up in your favourites. I'll go on a bit of we'll eat this. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm like, I don't want to do that. And you change onto something else and eat that for a while and then sort of go back. I tend to find. And even now when I look something up that hasn't got a barcode or I don't have it, and I'll go, that's wrong. And you go looking at it and you go, and you look at some different options and go, I think that's a better option, with the lists of things that you can pick from.
Yeah.
And you get to the generic things that say like sausages that you don't have a barcode you can scan, and you go, I often will plug in Coles or Woolies
Yep.
because they're a major brand and a lot of people would potentially have tracked that. And because that app seems to have British and American, or maybe not American,
Yeah.
but British stuff on it, so you've got to wheedle that out as well. It takes a while, but you figure it out. And then you go, then you look at something, oh, that's too low in calories, or that's not high enough in protein. And
You're not looking for the lowest calorie option. So
no,
that
and you get to know, and you're like, well, I'm not going to, I'd really like that sausage to be 100 calories, but I know it's not, and that's just going to affect me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you sort of learn to see as well, and that's good. I think, potentially on a day that I didn't track, I could know what I can and can't eat, or and have a rough guide
Approximately,
at the end.
yeah.
Approximately, without sort of going too far. And I'd prefer to go over than under anyway.
yeah.
Some days.
Accountability is probably the backbone of my program. So each day you submit me your calories, your protein, and your steps. How important do you think accountability is for your success?
For me, definitely. I'm one of those people. I think it depends on your personality too, and what sort of traits you have. Because I know I won't get in trouble if I don't do that, but I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do that, which makes me need to do it. I've got out of bed at like 12 o'clock at night and going, God, I didn't send that. Not often. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll send it in the morning,
Yeah.
but other times I'll go, especially if I haven't tracked that day, I'll go, oh, I'll just send it in the morning because I know how many steps I did. I always track steps, even if I'm not tracking anything else. And I've usually tracked a part day probably anyway. Until I've gone to the function or whatever, I've still tracked that day and made good choices for the start of that day. But the accountability, definitely. I would feel bad if I didn't do the 10,000 steps potentially, and if I don't put that in, because I know that it just becomes something that I need to do, I have to do. So I've got friends that have done your program that I never do 10,000 steps, and I never send the forms in, and I'm like a bit like, oh, you'll get in trouble for that. And they're like, no, you won't, but you sort of get that mindset. If that makes sense.
It's you can't physically make someone do it.
No,
That's the
I
thing.
know.
Like it's you want someone to feel that form of accountability like you had, and that's why you're successful. But then if you're, if you take shortcuts, you're only really letting yourself down.
And if you can't see my overall picture, then how can you give me the advice and support that I need?
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, well, maybe we need to lower or adjust your calories, or you're right to move up or down in your protein or something. Or you can see how things are or what needs to be. And if you don't have an overall full picture of that, then you're not going to be able to give me the advice that I need to move forward.
Definitely.
Potentially. That part of accountability helps you help me.
Yeah.
In that respect as well, I think.
And what does a typical day look like in food for you? Breakfast, lunch?
So breakfast, I'd have, like I say, a normal weekday is probably the best to work off. So probably a couple of eggs and a piece with multigrain bread. Lunch is some sort of form of protein, tuna or chicken or leftover meat or something with either salad or veggies. The steam fresh veggies are fantastic. Those steam fresh packet of fish in the microwave at work are great as well.
Yeah.
I make myself sometimes if I'm thinking I'm going to need more protein, I'll have a shake often, and then usually if I'm hungry in the morning, I'll have it. If I'm hungry in the afternoon, I'll have it with protein powder, a wheat Bic, and some protein yogurt. Usually, I actually put half a banana in it this morning because I had it. Then dinner would be. And then often with lunch, maybe a wrap or some bread of some description. Now I'm trying to fit in apple for fibre, apple or fruit of some description. Other snacks like jerky or, that kind of thing. Dinner, we usually, not quite 3 meat and veg, but vegetables or salad, some kind of meat. Sometimes we'll sandwich a chicken breast or something. And then I usually need some chocolate or those Wicked Sister chocolate protein, desserts that they've got, that kind of thing. Try to find something, depending what I need to tweak at the end of the night. If I've got calories left over, I'll have like an ice cream. There's plenty of options that are low in calories.
Yeah.
They might have a lot of other nutritional value, but they're not high in calorie either,
Yeah, for
if that
sure.
makes sense. And if you've hit your protein targets and stuff for the day or close enough to, then if you've got calories to waste, then why not
Yeah,
waste
for
them
sure.
sometimes?
There's no point taking them with you.
Okay. Sometimes you build them up for your extra beer on Saturday.
I said to Melissa last night, can you make that baked oats? I've got 250 calories left. Some days I don't even enter my food till the night, but I know, I
Yes,
can make it
you've
because
got
I
'em.
sort of eat very similar. It's
Yeah.
not the same, but I know in the ballpark of where I'm at.
And I'm sort of I would probably at lunchtime sit down and track everything. If I know what I'm having for dinner, I might track that in as well, so I can pre-plan what ice cream I'm having after dinner potentially.
Yeah.
When I was on Weight Watchers and on Friday nights, and you used to be able to save your points, and I'd save the points because we'd go to the golf club at this point. This is like over 10 years ago, and I'd be like, I can have 4 beers, and then I'd go, I'd sneak one extra in,
Yeah.
4 beers plus one. So I'd always have sort of one extra drink, but I'd save these calories so I could have the X amount of beers. Yeah.
Yeah. It's whatever works.
Yeah, that's right.
But you feel better from getting it from food, don't you? Like,
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
for sure. And you're obviously not as hungry.
for sure.
But I don't drink as much as I did
Yeah.
back anymore. I still enjoy a beer, but it, when you look at the fact that a full strength beer, you could have, two, nearly 3 shots of, rum for that. It's like,
Yeah.
you start
And
to
you
weigh
just
up.
pre-mix it with Coke Zero or something. Yeah.
The no sugar rum cans.
Yeah, right.
They're only 96 cals and 1.5 standard drinks.
Yeah,
right.
Don't need many.
No, so they're pretty good. You don't. I think you've got kids, so you got to drive. So
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
often not drinking when you go into social functions anyway. So
Yeah.
and I've sort of, when we were in town from the floods, Mum and Dad have a glass of red wine at night with dinner. So I was really enjoying, because I don't drink. Friday night I have a couple of drinks at home, but I wouldn't sit and have a glass of wine normally. But I was really enjoying that. That's quite nice. So,
Yeah.
Factor it in. It's not really all that many calories. It's fine.
Yeah.
So,
And for the last, I'm going to say 6 months, could be a little bit longer, got to your weight that you're pretty happy with, and you've been eating at your maintenance, kind of worked out that over time, 21 or 2,200 calories is sort of where you sit roughly, where your scales don't move too much. How's that been?
yeah, that's been good. So I think you're right, 6 months. And it's not to say that one day I might want to lose a bit more. And I presume once I come to the gym eventually, that's something that, my body probably will change again. But no, I sit quite happily on that. I don't have to. I'm a little bit of, I only do as much as I need to, which is not hopefully a good thing to say, but I do just as much as I need to do. So when you sort of find that sweet spot, then I'm kind of happy
That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
How important along the journey was it to, rather than thinking about the 20 to 30 kilos that you wanted to lose, just to have the daily, today I've got to hit my calories, I've got to hit my protein, I've got to hit my steps?
Yeah, that's more so. And the big picture is a good thing to have, but you don't get there in one day. So it was more about just watching, get out of triple figures into double figures, and to a lot of people that's really important. I think to me that was important. I think the second I was at 99 or whichever came first, I went, right, and that's it and no more. And that sort of moving, and then you'd work to the next one. You go, we'll get to the 95 or the 90, or you create the smaller goals within the larger goal. And as you said, hit your targets, steps done, protein done, cals done, rework your food or whatever you're doing to suit your calories that are changing as you're going down, and you sort of forget about the bigger number. And I think it's not till you get to the end that you sort of go, well, I've got to this point. I sort of had, I think I started out with a 20 kilo because I had previously lost 20 kilos and I knew that I could do that. That to me, that was achievable. Anything more than that was probably a bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, wrap it up. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. I have, it's, without your support that I wouldn't have been able to make it so far and hopefully keep on track.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
No worries.
Till next time. Later. If you like this episode, take a screenshot, pop it on your Instagram story and tag me in it. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so.